Fatiha. Selamünaleyküm. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Esselatu vesselamu ala Resulina Muhammedin seyyidil evvelin ve ahirin. Meded ya Resul, meded ya Sadat, ashab-ı Resul, meded ya meşâhına. Estağfurullah, aşağıya fazlasın, şemhamına da meded. Tarikatuna sohba vel hayru fil cemiyye. Allah Azze ve Celle okuduğumuz sure veylül mutaffifin ellezîne zekâren nâse estağfirâne. Bu insanları aldatan, yaptığı işleri kazançlarını da insanlara vay haline diyor.
In this verse we have just recited, Allah Almighty says, "Woe to those who deceive people in their dealings and in their earnings."
Allah Azze ve Celle veyledi cehennemde bir vadidir.
For those who deceive others in their dealings and in their earnings, there is for them wail, and wail, it is a valley in hell.
O vadiye işte bu insanları kandıran, tartıda kandıran, söz verip de insanlardan para alıp onu yapmayan, onlara vay haline diyor.
Allah Almighty says, "Woe to those people who cheat others, who cheat in their measures, who make promises but don't keep them, who take people's money but don't fulfill their agreements. Woe to them," Allah Almighty says. "For them there is a valley called Whale reserved in hellfire."
Cehennemlik olur insanlar, onun cennete değil.
What they earn makes them to be destined for hell, not for paradise.
Yani dünyada bize kazandık zannederler ama onların cehennemi hazırlamış olurlar.
They think that by cheating others, they are gaining something in this world. They think that they are gaining an advantage, but in reality, they are preparing hell for themselves in the hereafter.
Çünkü insanlar haklarını yiyorlar.
Because they are consuming the rights of other people.
Bu bir taraftan. İkinci taraftan da Allah Azze ve Celle bir şey yaptınız mı, alışveriş yaptınız mı, borç aldınız mı, iş yaptınız mı, bunu yaptınız mı, ne yapacaksanız yazın diyor.
And moreover, Allah Almighty says, when you do something, whether you're buying or selling something, whether you're taking a loan, whether you do a business, whatever you do, make an agreement and write it down. Make a written agreement.
Bu da emirdir.
It is a command of Allah Almighty to write down.
Yapın. Bu kardeşimdir, bu ahbabımdır, Müslüman kardeşimdir. 15 defa hacca gitmiş, 5 vakit namaz kılar. Şuydu buydu, o gerekmez, yazmaya gerekmez, bu adam emniyetlidir. Hiç onu yapmayalım demeyin.
Don't say, he's my brother, he's my friend, he's my fellow Muslim. He has been to Hajj 15 times, he prays 5 times a day. And don't say, it's not necessary to write it down. This man is trustworthy. Don't ever say, let's not do that. Don't ever say, let's do not make an agreement. Always make a written agreement if you're about to do something with someone.
Onların müstesna kalmadı. Allah Azze ve Celle yazın diyor.
Allah Almighty did not make an exception for anyone. He says, write it down when you make an agreement.
En yakın şeye bile güvenmeyin demiyor da yazın. Çünkü
Allah Almighty does not say, don't trust your closest ones. However, He Almighty Allah says, whenever you make an agreement, write it down.
İnsanoğlunda sırf şey yok, melekler yok. Nefis var birinci defa. İkincisi şeytan var. Dünya insanı aldatır.
Because human beings, they are not angels. They have an ego, then there's shaitan, and then there are these worldly desires that that can deceive a person.
Onun için muhakkak bir şey yaptınız mı o karşı tarafa da zarar gelmesin diye.
So therefore, when you are to do something, when you want to embark on an agreement with somebody else, make a written agreement in order to make sure that the other party is not harmed.
Çünkü sen koyun gibi şeyini boynunu teslim ettin mi nefesi ötekisinin nefsi alır.
Because when you submit your neck like a sheep, the ego of the other person may take over.
Gerekmez. Yani ilk başta olabilir yapacağım edeceğiz falan der. Ondan sonra nefis girer. Hem iş bereketsiz olur, kötü olur. Hem günaha girmiş olur.
At first, things might be fine, and your partner may say that he will do what he promised, but then the ego will get involved more and more. And as the ego gets involved into your affairs, your work becomes without blessing, it becomes bad, and you may even turn and fall into sin.
Seni aldatan sen de günaha girmiş olursun ki ona vesile oldun, ona günaha işlenmesine yardımcı oldun.
Then the one who deceives you commits a sin by deceiving you and cheating you, but also you enter a state of being in a sin because you became a means for that person to commit a sin. By not making a written agreement, by not writing things down, you helped him to commit a sin.
Nasıl ya benim param gitti, şeyin gitti. Sen çünkü Allah Azze ve Celle'nin emrini yerine getirmedin.
And then people are surprised and say, how did that happen? All my money is gone, I've lost my property. But there's nothing to wonder about. You did not fulfill the command of Allah Almighty, who ordered you to make a written agreement.
Kendini o insanı sana zarar vermesine yardım ettin.
And by not making that written agreement, you helped that person, your partner, to harm you.
Bu da işte. Bu İslam dini her şeyi kırk yarar derler ya, öyledir yani. Yani bu beni aldattı, benim param gitti, o paranın üstüne sen bir daha günah işlemişsin.
The religion of Islam is very meticulous about these matters, and it is as if Islam splits a hair 40 ways, as the proverb says, and that way Islam looks into every detail and tries to ensure that everyone gets their rights in order to avoid situations where people might be deceived and in order to avoid situations where they lose all their money. But by not making a written agreement, by not fulfilling that order of Allah Almighty, one does not only run the danger of being cheated or being deceived and losing one's money, but also one runs the danger of committing a sin.
Bu şey yapmışsın, vesile olmuşsun. Onun için
because not only the one who cheats, but also the one who is cheated has committed a sin, because he has become the instrument for the sin by not enforcing a written agreement.
Bu emirler, İslam'ın emirlerini yerine getirmek lazım.
Therefore, the commands and orders of Islam must be fulfilled.
Babamdır, kardeşimdir, abimdir, ablamdır, şuydu bu filan, onun arkadaşımdır, şuydu. Şimdi gene söylerler, devamlı söylerler.
Don't come up with excuses to not make a written agreement. Don't say, it is my father, it is my brother, it is my sister, it is this and that, he's my friend, I don't need a written agreement. Don't say such things. Look at what Allah Almighty orders and make a written agreement regardless of whoever you are making a deal or an agreement with.
Hatır çeki diye bir şey yok. Sen o çeke imza attın mı sen paşa paşa ödeyeceksin. Senin evine haciz gelecek, işine gelecek, bilmem nereye gelecek. Ya bunu 1000 defa söylüyorum. Gene de gelip şöyle oldu be kardeşim.
And even now, there's no such thing that, as a promissory note out of respect, once you sign that check, you will have to pay it no matter what. Nobody will do you a favor. And you may run the danger of losing your house, your business, and who knows what else you may run the danger of losing by not having made a written agreement and by not having any evidence. And this is something we keep saying 1,000 times, but people still don't follow that order of Allah Almighty to make a written agreement whenever they do business or whenever they are about to make an agreement. They should write it down and then they are surprised about what happens.
Ben değil, Allah Azze ve Celle söylemiş bu şeyi.
And what we're saying here, it is not my personal advice. It is what Allah Almighty ordered. It is what the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said 1,500 years ago.
Peygamber Efendimiz'in 1500 sene önceden yani o zamanki insanı bu zamanki insan bir fırsat buldu mu nefes hiç affetmez.
And this is how the ego of a person is. The ego was the same back then. The ego is the same today. The ego always looks for an opportunity in order to cheat people and to make a profit for himself.
Onun için dikkat etmek lazım.
And the ego never leaves out a chance to exploit a situation. Therefore, one must be very careful.
Malınıza dikkat edin. Rızkınıza dikkat edin.
Be careful with your property. Be careful with your rizq.
Allah Azze ve Celle'nin söylediği gibi yapın ki bereket olsun.
Do what Allah Almighty ordered you to do, so that there will be blessings.
Çünkü öyle zulüm olunca o para şey olur, mundar olur derler. Mundar olur dedi yani necis olur, pis olur.
Because when there is injustice, that money gets into a state of being mundar. It becomes unclean.
Her tarafı pisletir.
And when the money becomes unclean, it is impure and it makes everything dirty.
Oradan oraya gittikçe pislik, necaset, bereket kaçar.
And as that dirty money spreads, it also spreads that dirt and fills everywhere, and it spreads impurity everywhere, so that blessings disappear.
Onun için dikkat edin. Gelip de ondan sonra şikayet etmeyin.
Therefore, be very careful when doing a business, when making an agreement, to write things down, to write the conditions down, so that you don't come complaining afterwards.
Çoğu zaman Şeyh Baba'ya da gelirlerdi. Ya derdi, kardeşim sen bu iş olmadan neye gelip sormadın? Yaptıktan sonra gelip soruyorsun.
And many times people would come to Mawlana Shaykh Nazim and they would complain about their affairs having gone wrong. And Mawlana Shaykh Nazim, he would say, why didn't you come and ask before this happened? You come and ask after you've already done it.
Onun için dikkat etmek lazım.
Therefore, one must be careful.
Müslüman rızkını haram etmesin inşallah.
A Muslim should make sure to not make his rizq to become haram, unlawful, inshallah.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Allah herkese de hidayet edersin.
May Allah Almighty grant guidance to everyone.
Bu bir şey kazandım zannetenlere de Allah akıl fikir versin ki bu kazanç değil, o cehennemde bir çukurdur onlar için.
And those who think that they have gained something by cheating others, may Allah Almighty give them sense and reason, so that they understand that what they have obtained through cheating and fraud is not a gain, but what they've obtained is a pit in hell.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Allah tawfiq. El Fatiha.